Sharp Business Systems Indiana, saluting great athletes and even better students. Dellon Automotive, experience the Dellon difference. And by the Indianapolis Colts, proud presenting sponsor of the 50th annual IHSAA Football State Tournament.
Mr. Crosley, your passion and enthusiasm for teaching history taught me valuable life lessons.
Like what, Carrie?
The importance of dedication, commitment, showing up every day, and those lessons helped me in the classroom and on the softball field. I'm Carrie Rosati, IHSAA Assistant Commissioner, and this is Pat Crosley, my mentor from Roncalli High School.
As an educator, I always care about the whole student, from their academic success to their character development to their athletic performance. That's why I love supporting students outside the classroom at athletic events.
It showed me you really cared about me as a person, not just as a student. Having devoted coaches and teachers like you taught me accountability and motivated me in both my schoolwork and athletics. I showed up every day because you did the same for me.
Thanks, Carrie. We can all support hardworking teachers and coaches by buying a ticket to your high school's athletic events.
This is meaningful mentorship. This is life-changing leadership. This is your IHSAA.
Commissioner, it's going to be Thanksgiving before we know it. We always encourage people to get out and support their student athletes in their community, but we also have a little caveat. When you're there, act like you're supposed to. Follow the sportsmanship guidelines, and remember, these are kids, and they're watching you, and so we'll allow you to expand on that as we get ready for the upcoming tournament.
Well, again, that sportsmanship is such a key. And, we've really taken another approach here. Sportsmanship is a positive term because absolutely most people who walk in a facility any given Friday night, whatever night of the week it is to watch high school sports, they do it the right way. And then all of a sudden we have somebody that steps outside of a level of decorum that's not acceptable in a public setting. And I think those people are often acting that way when they go to the service station or the gas station or they're getting fast food. You just have to treat people with respect. And, we've got a new philosophy around here. At some point, some people just have to go. And if you're not here and you're not willing to support student athletes in a positive way, well, just might not be able to be here. And, we're going to take that approach because we're certainly going to celebrate the positive side of what we do and not focus on the negative any longer.
I would think that people can also take some of that initiatives when they're on the internet as well too, and let's keep those that dialogue back and forth to be positive when you're talking about kids.
Absolutely, kids need an opportunity to grow up, and sometimes kids will get on the internet and social media, and they'll step out of a decorum level that they make a mistake. But then we have to remember they're kids. We're going to teach those kids.
Yep.
We're going to allow them to recover from those things and come back. But the adults have to do it the right way because they are such role models for student athletes.
Commissioner, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for allowing us to be here in the brand new studio. And again, on behalf of everybody around the state, thanks for all you and your staff and the coaches, administrators, and everybody involved do for sports for our kids in the state of Indiana.
I appreciate those kind words, Coach, and it's a team thing, and everything I've done in my life is about the team, and this team here, you guys do a phenomenal job. You're going to walk our fans through this tournament and this brackets today, and high school sports are in great shape in this state because of the team, and you guys do a great job with us.
Thank you for that.
Thanks, Paul.
That's Paul Condry, the commissioner of the IHSAA. We'll come back and we'll start on the north part of the state with single A football with the Pairings. You're listening to the IHSAA Champions Radio Network presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. This is your IHSAA.
Fans. And then there are fans. The diehards. They're those that don't just have a seat at a game, but a home away from home. The ones who made home field advantage a real thing. Who believe the horseshoe isn't just a logo, but a way of life.
You're good at making big announcements. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
My life has changed tenfold. I mean, from what I was doing prior to sheet metal, I can't even express how great it's become.
Future's bright in this industry because it's not going away.
With the union trades, I am earning an associate's degree without any college debt whatsoever.
Right now is one of the greatest times to start this process. With our benefits packages and our retirement packages, we're very tough to beat.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 2022 IHSAA Football Tournament Pairing Show, presented by the Indianapolis Colts on the IHSAA Champions Radio Network. This is your IHSAA. I'm Bob Lovell with Paul Condry. Let us begin with sectional number 41. There are 8 teams involved in this. Game 1, Bowman Academy at South Central Union Mills. North Newton will be at Culver Community. Triton will be at Pioneer, and Triton, by the way, ranked number 11. And number 3, North Judson St. Pierre will be at South Newton. Sectional number 42, First round games, Clinton Central will be at Traders Point Christian. Number 12, North Vermilion at Covington. Number 12, Park Tudor at Clinton Prairie. And also Fountain Central at Attica in the other matchup in that first round. Sectional number 43, Frontier will be at Taylor. West Central will be at Caston. Also in that first round matchup, Tri-County will be at Tri-Central, Number 5, Carroll of Flora at North White. Semifinals obviously on that next weekend. In sectional number 44, there are 8 teams. Game 1, Fremont at South Adams. South Adams ranked number 8. Number 12, Adams Central will be at Southwood. North Miami will be at Madison Grant. Mad Grant ranked number 14. And Northfield will be at Southern Wells. Paul Condry, let's go back. Sectional 41, tell me what you think. You have, a North Judson team with 7 wins. South Newton, Triton with 5 wins. But you have to, I think, start with this solid North Judson team just playing so well, ranked number 3 for a reason.
Well, let's take a look at this, Bob. I'm thinking, first of all, it's the 75th season for North Judson St. Pierre football. And I tell you what, they're the best team right now, currently in Sectional 41. Lost a heartbreaker to LaVille this past Friday. But, I'll tell you what, they have really, Coach Lambert's done an outstanding job. Great running back in Cheyenne Allen. Can play the ball well. Brock Benson, another running back. Quentin Frazier, their linebacker, is as good as it gets. 81 tackles, 18 tackles for negative yardage. Logan Rackey, outstanding defensive lineman. So I think that this is a North Judson team in the bottom half of the bracket. I think Rodney Younis' Triton team. Anthony Shue has had a great year running the football for that group with 1,273 yards rushing and 22 scores coming into this past weekend's action. But, North Judson at this stage of the year is going to be taking on a South Newton team. And South Newton, Brad Beavis has done a really fine job because this was a program when he took over that was just really having all kinds of difficulties. But they've won 9 games in the last 2 years after losing 30-some-odd straight.
Right.
So give South Newton a lot of credit. But North Judson seems to be the premier team in Sectional 41. I think it's their tournament to lose.
Sectional 42, Paul, you have South Vermilion with 5 wins, Clinton Prairie also with 5. You also have Traders Point at 4-4 with a big win this past weekend. But it's I think a very balanced sectional there.
I think we've got the 12th ranked team, the 13th ranked team, which would be in opposite sides of the bracket. So I think from a technical standpoint, that looks good. North Vermilion, of course, who won it in 2019, led by head coach Greg Barrett. I talked with Greg earlier this week, and he talked about he's really excited about his senior captain, Gus Shyrock, right guard defensive. He's averaging 8 tackles again. Dalton Payton, 9 yards rushing per game, over 100 yards a game for him. Gabe Clay also doing a nice job running the football. But I think that's the team. But Park Tudor's Spencer Somerville squad, they're going to lean heavily on their outstanding defender, William Harris, who's averaging about 12 tackles a game. This is really one of those you pick 'ems. You have to figure, okay, match up Park Tudor's schedule versus North Vermilion's schedule. I don't have a favorite in this one. I think this is going to be really come down to who executes the best. Clinton Prairie's had a pretty good year, but the question is, I think Park Tudor's just a tad better. I'm going to give the nod here to Park Tudor, maybe North Vermilion.
Sectional 43, Paul, you've got a couple of really solid teams.
Oh, yeah.
You got Carroll,
big time,
undefeated. West Central with 7 wins. North White with 5. Frontier has a 4-4 record. To talk about balance, which is, I think, one of the key phrases the entire night. This is a loaded sectional.
Yeah, and we got a great matchup in that Carroll Flora game against North White. The neat thing about North White that I think Kirk Waswar's squad, he's got Jimmy Davis, the Hall of Fame football coach, has come back to coach with him. He's come out of retirement, and their Viking attack led by junior quarterback Eli Quasbarth has done a great job. Running back C.J. Hunt's been pretty good there. But this Carroll team is something that Blake Leitner's really excited about. Offensively, they've got a balanced attack with 3 running backs getting about 2,000 yards. Keegan Ellis, another outstanding player. But I think when it's all said and done, you're gonna have to count on Grady Lytle Cohen Air, some guys that are going to make some noise there for that. But West Central's another nice story. Coach Mark Hall's group coming in at 7-1 is another program that is going to rely heavily on some of their talented players like Jacob Pilarski, Zion Rodriguez, Aiden White, Buzz Weisswanger, Connor Morlatt, Aiden White. Their quarterback can do it all, plays both offense, defense. But this is a neat matchup that I see in the top. I think I can see West Central finding its way to the championship game. But I tell you what, that Carroll team has played great football all season long, and I think I would have a hard time going against what Coach Blake Bessner's team is all about.
Sectional 44, you have 2 ranked teams. South Adams number 8, Madison Grant number 14. You also have a Southwood team with 6 wins, South Adams with 6 wins. So as all the things I said in terms of how balanced and difficult that the previous section was in 43, same thing with 44. This is a tough sectional.
And you have 2 teams that absolutely are totally in love with each other. Not. Adams Central and South Adams. 2 great coaches have done a wonderful job. Adams Central beat South Adams earlier in the season on the 23rd, 25-21. And so you look at that situation. So I like Michael Moster's kid is Adams Central. Got Ryan Black, their outstanding quarterback, is good with Keegan Bloom. Running back, linebacker Jack Hamilton playing well. Graham Mosier can coach him up. He's got Owen Water, the quarterback, coming back over 1,500 yards passing for him. Brady Bial, Silas Loshi, Mav Somerset, Connor Fear, just some names on that South Adams team. And Madison Grant's has really kind of come out of the woodwork and had a pretty good season. But I tell you what, I think the winner coming in the top half of the bracket between South Adams and Adams Central is going to win that sectional.
All right, Paul, we'll come back and we'll do the southern part of the state in single A. Today's broadcast of the IHSAA Champions Network is brought to you in part by Ivy Tech Community College. An Ivy Tech degree means you'll be ready on day one at your new job. With over 70 programs offered and faculty that meet you where you're at. Get started at ivytech.edu. This is the IHSAA Football Tournament Pairings Show, and you're listening to the IHSAA Champions Radio Network presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. This is your IHSAA.
Inspired by touch, by play, by listening and laughter. Inspired by family gatherings and one-on-one conversations. Inspired by long walks, long lives, and lives simply lived well. Inspired by compassion, by healing, by grace and strength. What inspires us at Franciscan Health is you. Franciscan Health, inspiring health.
When I'm not racing at the track, I do like to take things a little bit slower. But even with my foot off the gas, I'm still driven to save lives. So if you're like me and you like hunting and fishing, you could do something to save lives too. Just say yes to being an organ donor when you get your hunting or fishing license online, or when you renew your Indiana driver's license. Join the 4 million Hoosiers who have signed up to save lives. Here, fishy, fishy, fishy.
The goal isn't graduation day. It's a better every day after. It's the first day in your new career. Your first pay raise. The 5th day of that week-long vacation. It's the first paid holiday home with your family. Or the day of your last car loan payment. Much sooner than you thought. At Ivy Tech Community College, we don't just care about your degree. We care about your life. Let's get started at ivytech.edu.
How's Paul look on TV? Back, everybody, to the 2022 IHSAA Football Tournament Pairing Show presented by the Indianapolis Colts on the IHSAA Champions Radio Network. This is your IHSAA. Paul Condry, let's talk about the South in 1A, sectional number 45. There are 7 teams. Game 1, Union City at number 10, Sheridan. Indiana Deaf will be at Tindley. West Dell travels to Hagerstown. The semifinals begin with Monroe Central taking on the Union City Sheridan winner from Friday night. Paul, Monroe Central with 5 wins. Hagerstown having a great year. Sheridan, Bud Wright just continues to win. They've won 7 games. Indiana Deaf with 6 games. I hate to wear out the term balanced, but this is the perfect example of it.
Sheridan looking for victory number 100 in postseason play.
Yikes.
Bud Wright has, of course, been the fixture there for many, many years. And they have got a great running back in Peyton Crossman. He's coming off a great performance this past Friday. 49 rushes for 367 yards and 4 touchdowns against Greentown. He's averaging over 150 yards a game, Bob, with 68 tackles on defense. This is a team that runs the football with great precision, averaging about 350 yards rushing per ball game. Then I'm going to flip it over to the script of Monroe Central, because I think John Hochstetler's group is an outstanding group, led by senior Lucas Jones, formerly All-State wide receiver, who's been shifted over to play quarterback this year. He's a Ball State recruit. He's done a really formidable job. 65% passing, not too bad being switching careers, if you will. Senior tight end Luke Munchell has done an outstanding job. Junior Ryder Bowen does a nice job on the defensive side. He's got 61 tackles coming in. So I look at it this way: Hagerstown's had a good year, but I think Monroe Central is going to come out of that backside of the bracket, and then I think Sheridan. I'm just not going to bet against Bud Wright. That guy is all he's done is won his entire life. I'm not going to start now. I think the Blackhawks tournament to win.
Sectional number 46, round 1. Knightstown travels to Edinburgh. South Decatur will be at Milan. North Decatur, ranked number 4, will be at number 7, Tri. The semifinals, Cambridge City drawing the bye. They'll take on the Cambridge City Lincoln winner. They'll take on Cambridge City will be in the bye on the bracket on Friday, taking on the Knightstown Edinburgh winner from the previous week. And Paul, Tri 6-1, North Decatur, Steve Stern's team.
Yeah, playing really well.
They're a monster. Edinburgh got a great start, but still playing good football.
I like the winner of the North Decatur Tri-High game being your championship game right from the get-go. Those two teams are outstanding. And you mentioned Steve Stern, veteran coach, been around the block a whole bunch, and he really likes the senior class. I talked with Steve earlier this week. He likes their workman-like approach to what's going on. Senior Carson Palmer, their quarterback, Reed Messer, who's on the cover of our Indiana Football Digest this past year. James Evans, our linebacker, running back, is outstanding. Jake Kinker, their center. Those guys are captains both on and off the field. Those guys are really good. But this Knightstown team is very, very talented, very, very athletic offensively. Parker Burke, the running back, linebackers, had a sensational year with over 1,000 yards rushing, 17 touchdowns. Quarterback Mason Wilson has been solid defensively. Sam Mondras, Kyron Huffman, and Parker Burke, those linebackers can fly to the football. But I think you have a really nice matchup, really a championship-type game, Bob, in the first round there between North Decatur and Troy. I think the winner of that game is going to bring home the hardware and raise the flag.
That's a great point. Sectional 47, number 6, South Putnam at Indianapolis Lutheran. Lutheran number 1, the defending champs. Riverton Park will travel to North Central of Farmersburg. Number 14, Covenant Christian on the road at Park Heritage. Hard to go against the defending champions, is it not?
No, there's no question about it. But what about Chuck Sorrell's group at South Putnam? They're having a great year. And that could be a championship game right there. So now Chuck and the guys have got to get it together, and I know he's really excited because his group has won the conference and the county for 3 years in a row. Outstanding players, Aiden Beatles leading the state in tackle, Luke Switzer, Peyton Crickmer playing well in their 2 running back system. He's averaging 10 yards a carry. And you look at that, and that's a great. And then, of course, what can you say about Indianapolis Lutheran? Jackson Willis has made the smoothest transition from being a bench guy stepping into a role as one of the top quarterbacks, over 2,000 yards right now. Joe Davis, our senior running back, is averaging 100 yards per game. Micah McKay, wide receivers, over 100 yards receiving a game. 19 different Lutheran Saints are in double figures in tackles. So not only are they doing it offensively, but they're doing it defensively. And I think Dave Pash, his son John, those guys are just playing great football right now. And the neat story in this whole sectional 47 has to be Riverton Park. Riverton Park has really struggled traditionally over the years, but they have really made some inroads there, and I want to give them a lot of credit coming into this one where they're at right now at 6-2. This is a program that has had some difficulties, and to see them in this position, I know Darren Hazard, their senior linebacker, has had a great year, and just want to give some kudos out to Riverton Park on a sensational year because for many, many years they were a doormat.
Sectional 48, 7 teams in this one. South Spencer will travel to number 9 Tecumseh. Springs Valley will be on the road at number 14 Providence. West Washington will be at Eastern Green. And then in the semifinals, North Daviess will take on the South Spencer-Tecumseh winner. Paul, you have Tecumseh, West Washington, North Daviess, Springs Valley, Providence, and South Spencer all 500 or above. Very, very strong sectional.
You know, this is a really, really neat one. I'm going to start on the bottom of the bracket. West Washington coach Jeremy Lowry's done a nice job. But also want to pass along heartfelt condolences to the West Washington football family because Art Sanders, the legendary Hall of Famer, passed away this weekend. He was a big part and a fixture of that community from 63 to 88. But West Washington team with Kenny Chase, the quarterback, Wyatt Johnson, Ethan Roberts, all three of those guys, great two-way players for West Washington. Then in the top half of the bracket, I tell you what, Tecumseh has had a great year. Brett Szabo is really excited. Got a great offensive line. Running back Chase Jones got over 1,100 yards in only 4 complete games. Drew DuPont, their quarterback, has had a sensational year. Their kicker, Davis Hyde, is one of the best in southern Indiana. Connor England is their top tackler. And then you throw in the fact that Providence, Daniel McDonald has done a nice job. You got to go back to the Gene Sartini days, back in the ages ago, since they've had teams like this on defense. Luke French, Brian Watt, Elijah Theobald, Connor Sack, Grayson Abel, Nolan Finnegan, all playing really, really well. And then their quarterback has really stepped in. Preston Kemp, who came into the quarterback role as a backup and has stepped up with an injury. So this is a really neat story for Our Lady of Providence down in the along the river. So I think it's going to be an exciting sectional 48, and I'm not picking a winner in this one, Bob, because I don't know if Tecumseh has all the stuff. I don't know if Providence is where they're at, and I certainly would never bet against my buddy Jeremy Lowry because he can coach them up.
He's Paul Condry. I'm Bob Lovell. We are through the single A matchups, and remember these games begin on October 21st. So make sure you plan to be there, have some fun, and cheer on your kids. And the IHSAA would like to thank its 2 presenting sponsors for today's broadcast, the Indianapolis Colts and Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. This is your IHSAA. When we come back, we'll tee it up for a 2A in the north and bring you much more football. You're listening to the IHSAA Champions Network and the 2022 Indiana High School Athletic Association Football Tournament presented by the Indianapolis Colts on the IHSAA Champions Radio Network. This is your IHSAA.
You're good at basement basketball.
We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
It's 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon. You have 2 choices. Option 1, take 2 nanoseconds to reach over and put on your seatbelt. Or option 2, decide it's too much work for a Saturday and don't put on your seatbelt. As the seatbelt alarm continues to sing the song of its people, you roll your eyes. You're just going down the block, you'll be fine. You take a turn to the left, and that's when you see it.
Just wear your seatbelt. It's an easy way to save your own life. The Indiana Criminal Justice Institute wants to remind you that choices matter. Click it to live it.
Back, everybody, to the 2022 IHSAA Football Tournament Pairing Show, presented by the Indianapolis Colts on the IHSAA Champions Radio Network. I'm Bob Lovell alongside Paul Condry. This broadcast of the IHSAA Champions Radio Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, is being heard on great radio stations around Indiana like WBIW 1430 AM in Bedford, WQRK 105.5 in Bedford, WPHZ in Bedford and Orleans, WGCL also in Bloomington, and WGCL AM and FM in Bloomington, and WXKU 92.7 out of Austin. Paul Condry, let us go to 2A North, Sectional 37. 7 teams here. Whiting is at LaVille. LaVille's number 3. Wheeler at Bremen. Hammond Bishop Knoll travels to Lake Station Edison. And the defending state champions, Andrean, will take on the Whiting and LaVille winner in the semifinals. Again, Andrean, the defending champs, ranked number 2. Paul, hard to go against the Andrean 59ers.
Talented group, and they have played in a really competitive league, and those type of situations make them a very difficult. The fact that they also have probably the Hoosier State's most prized recruit, Drake Bowen, who's going to be heading off to the University of Notre Dame. He's a member of our Primetime 25 group. But let's take a look at this. You're probably going to see LaVille and Andrean in that round 2. I'm just going to speculate that. But we can talk about those 2 teams played each other last year in the regionals in 2021. 59ers won that game 35-8. Ironically enough, that here they are going to go back at it again. I remember distinctly having some of the LaVille players on one of my talk shows when we kicked off our football season, and I know every young man that I talked to, all they talked about is I can't wait to get a chance to play Andrean. And now they're going to get it in week 2 if they take care of the business at hand. Now, Andrean, Drake Bowen, what can you say? It's not already been said. He runs the football. He can catch the football. He can just knock the living snot out of you. He is one of the premier football players we've had in this state in a decade. Wide receiver Patrick Clax can play with anybody. But the really story here has been Billy Henry, the quarterback, who's stepped up and thrown for 1,300 yards in place of a Ballantyne kid, who was a preseason All-State quarterback for us in the IFD. And so he is potentially maybe back by the postseason. So Chris Skinner's got himself a really difficult decision on what he's going to do there. But LaVille, tell you what, I really like what Will Hostrauser's done. Paul DeWitt, 928 yards rushing, he's done a great job. 3rd career rushing leader in LaVille history, outstanding yard with 2,200 yards. Lucas Plummer, their quarterback, veteran kid, who can do it both running the football as well as passing the football. Defense led by Colin Zarnacki and John Nessie. Both of those kids are 10th graders still. So this is going to be a great matchup. This is going to be one of the premier round 2 games. If everything plays true to form, I tell you what, I wouldn't bet against that Andrean team because that team is loaded still to this day.
But as you point out, LaVille, very, very good.
Very good.
And if it shapes up that way, it should be a tremendous game. Sectional number 34. 7 teams here. Winnemac Community travels to number 6 Lafayette Central Catholic. The Rochester Zebras on the road at Seeger. Benton Central will be at Delphi Community. And in the semifinals, game 1 in the semifinals, number 12 Lewis Cass will take on the Winnemac Lafayette Central Catholic winner. Paul, LCC with 6 wins. Zebras at Rochester with 7. Seeger with 6 wins. It's a really, Cass has 5 wins. Delphi at 500. It's a really, really loaded sectional.
Lafayette Central Catholic, of course, loaded in tradition. Make no mistake about that. Bobby Betzker, their quarterback, 1,200 yards, only a 10th grader. Outstanding. He can get that job. 18 touchdowns, 80 interceptions. Baylor Smith, their outstanding running back, can just move up and down the field. Aiden Sattler, their linebacker. Very, very talented team, that Lafayette Central Catholic, and of course that's going to be matched up against Winnemac. And then you've got that second round matchup with Lewis Cass, which I think Lafayette Central Catholic is going to advance past Winnemac. And then you're going to be looking at seeing a really good player in Hayden McLean, the running back. L.J. Hills, the quarterback, defensive back for Lewis Cass. Coach Mannering, I think, is really excited about the defensive effort of Tyson Good, their defensive back. So that should be a great second-round matchup. And then you have on the bottom side of that, I really like this Rochester team. Aaron Swango, their quarterback, has had a great year, as well as E.Y. Swango, the offensive and defensive lineman. I really think this is going to be an entertaining opportunity. Benton Central's picked up the pace a bit in the upper half of that bracket. Delphi has played formidable, but Lewis Gas, I think, got the best draw here because they get a chance to wait for Lafayette Central Catholic to kind of get the cobwebs out before they get them in that second round. This is going to be an entertaining Sectional 34. I like what we got. Lafayette Central Catholic's 2 losses. They've come to ranked teams, Guerin Catholic and West Lafayette. Lewis Gas has the most wins they've had since 2019 when they won 11 games. This is going to be a fun sectional for fans to get involved in.
Sectional number 35, 8 teams. Game 1, Prairie Heights at Fort Wayne Bishop Lures. Lures ranked number 8. Cherubusco will be on the road at Central Noble. Number 11, Eastside travels to Wabash, and Manchester will be at Whitco. Paul, Eastside, Busco, both with 6 wins. Lures is Lures, 4-4, but the great schedules that they play. I love how competitive this sectional is.
Yeah, this is a good one, Bob. You look at Eastside, of course, they won the school's sectional championship second sectional championship last year, won their first regional championship. And their 2 losses by a combined 5 points. So let's face it. I mean, they're 1 or 2 plays there. But, I really think that this Eastside team has got the easiest path to the championship game. Bishop Lures, you can never argue about Bishop Lures. You can go back to the year, a couple decades ago, it seems like now, where they only won 3 games. The next thing you know, they're playing in the state championship game. So you never want to include. But Charles Stansky, their quarterback, has had a good year for Bishop Lures. Colin Jolis has played very, very well from his linebacker defensive line position. But Eastside will lock and load with Carson Jacobs, their quarterback. He's played very, very well. Dex Holman, his senior offensive lineman, has been really, really good. And Dane Siebert has also played very, very well when it's all said and done. So this is going to be a good one. I'm not going to bet against Eastside.
Right.
I really think what Todd Mason's done there is very, very formidable. Keep in mind the last 2 sectional championships have been between Eastside and Bishop Lures. I think we can see that again.
Sectional number 36, 8 teams here. Number 10, Eastbrook travels to Frankton. Elwood Community will be at Alexandria Monroe. Bluffton traveling to Blackford. And Tipton will be on the road at Eastern of Greentown. So you look at this balance, Paul. Eastbrook at 6-2, Alexandria at 5-5, Eastern at 5-3, Bluffton with 4 wins. Again, the key, we've talked about it and probably talk about it in most sectionals, is how balanced and how open it is.
But everybody in the field is saying, okay, oh my goodness, Eastbrook. Well, they've only won 6 of the last sectionals. So, and one of those Eastbrook losses are to Alexandria, where the Panthers lost 49-33. So you have to look at that. Okay, that could be a second-round opponent there for Eastbrook. But Eastbrook, that of course, has been outstanding. Devin Stuples, the running back, defensive back, had a great. Josh Natler, the quarterback. Gage Ingle, the running back, has played very, very well. Bodie Howe. Alexandria has done a great job with Gade McGuire. Eastern Greentown, Jaden Ingle has played well. And I think that's going to be a fun section we'll take a look at.
All right, Paul, that's the northern part of the state in 2A. We'll come back and talk about the south. Today's broadcast of the IHSAA Champions Network is brought to you in part by Ivy Tech Community College. Each year, over 70,000 high schoolers earn college credit at Ivy Tech while still in high school and save on tuition while doing it. Find out more at ivytech.edu. You're listening to the IHSAA Champions Radio Network presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. This is your IHSAA.
Anna, let's clear the air about vaping. Glue, rat poison, paint. We all know these products contain poisons, like formaldehyde, arsenic, and lead. And these are just a few of the chemicals you'll find in e-cigarette vapor. Let's clear the air, Indiana. Don't puff this stuff. Visit don'tpuffthisstuff.com to join the fight and spread the word.
In addition to Pacers basketball, my family's a big fan of 2 things: rescue dogs and great Connecticut water. So when we adopted Walter to join Bailey, he too gets his bowl of water right from our Connecticut K5 drinking water station. We take our water quality seriously, which is why we also have a whole home water treatment system. Improve your water like we do. Visit ConnecticutIndy.com for your free in-home water test. Connecticut, official sponsor of the Indiana Pacers.
Becoming a licensed sports official is a great way to make a positive difference in the community and support the over 160,000 Indiana student athletes that participate across 22 IHSAA sports. Sports officiating allows you to stay connected to the game, become a role model for our young student athletes, earn extra money, and support the patrons and communities of our IHSAA member schools. To learn more about becoming a licensed IHSAA official, log on to ihsaa.org/officials today.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 2022 IHSAA Football Tournament Pairing Show, presented by the Indianapolis Colts on the IHSAA Champions Radio Network. This is your IHSAA, alongside Paul Condry from the Regional Radio Sports Network and the Indiana Football Digest. I'm Bob Lovell, the host of Indiana Sports Talk. Paul, we are now ready for the southern part of the state in 2A, Sectional 37. Number 1, Linton Stockton at South Vermilion. Sullivan will travel to North Putnam. Greencastle on the road at Cascade. And Paul, it's a sectional that features the number 1 ranked team in the state in Linton Stockton. Southmont with 6 wins. Cascade, Sullivan, and Greencastle all at the 500 mark. But I think you have to pay attention to the number 1 ranked team in the state.
Yeah, number 1 for the first time in school's history, I might point out, led by Hunter Gennick's quarterback. We did a story on him on Colts.com/high school football early in the season. He's one of the premier athletes in the Hoosier State, can do it all. And he's got Hunter Johns at running back, an offensive line led by three-year starters, and Nathan Watson, Wrigley Franklin, and Aiden Giles. I really think Brian Oliver's kids have got all the moxie to make a postseason run. But that South Vermilion team is going to try to make some noise. Guys, Gus Schrock, their outstanding offensive defensive lineman, Dalton Payton, Gabe Clay, a couple guys to keep an eye out there. When you look at the other half of this tournament, you look at Sullivan's had a pretty solid year with Luke Adams, their wide receiver, Josh Wentz, their linebacker, Rowdy Adams, their quarterback, Corey Adams, another outstanding student athlete, has done a great job on the defensive. But the really neat story here is Southmont. I know that they started off like they were on fire, winning the first 6 games. I know they hit a little bit of speed bump lately, but I think Dustin Hannum's kids have done a nice job there. Wyatt Woodall, their running back, linebackers, had a great year. Seth Tolliver, their tight end, has been pretty special. But I think you'd be hard-pressed to bet against a team like Brian Oliver's group. The Miners have all the right pieces, all the right talent, and all the moxie, I think, that's going to be able to make a deep postseason run.
All right, so Sectional 38, 8 teams here. Indianapolis Cardinal Ritter on the road at Shenandoah. Number 9, Heritage Christian will travel to Northeastern. Winchester Community will be at LaPel, and Eastern Hancock on the road at Union County. So, Paul, I look at this, Northeastern with 6 wins, Heritage Christian with 5, LaPel, Shenandoah, Union County all with 4. Some good football teams. This is solid sectional.
Yeah, I like this Heritage Christian team, Coach. I really, really believe that they're ranked number 9 coming into this, and Kyle Antoine, their quarterback, almost 1,700 yards passing, a pretty good player there. He also runs the football with reckless. So he's averaging about, he's racking up about 2,300 total yards of offense and 24 touchdowns. He's a tough guy to deal with there. Colin Thompson, their linebacker, has been outstanding. 83 stops for him. Luke Valerio, their wide receiver, has hauled in about 50 passes for 800 yards. So I think that Heritage Christian team is going to be the team. Northeastern has had a great year, but I really believe Heritage Christian's schedule is really going to be the difference maker in giving them an opportunity to get through in the bottom half of this bracket. It's so unique because you have some team. I think that LaPel team is a team that can make some noise. Eastern Hancock, likewise, a team that you have to keep an eye out. But I think it's going to be interesting to see who advances in that bottom half of the bracket, because honestly, I couldn't tell you who's going to win out of the bottom half of that bracket. It's that wide open.
It certainly is. Sectional number 39, number 7, Triton Central at Crystal House. Brownstown Central will be on the road at Brown County. Switzerland County at number 5, Indianapolis Cecina. And Clarksville will be on the road at Eastern Pekin. Cecina, Ott Hurley's guys 7-1, ranked number 5. Brownstown Central 5-3. Switzerland County 4-4. Triton Central. Tim Abel's done a great job with that group. They're 6-2. So, yes, number one, you look at Reed May, Odd Hurley, Tim Abel, 3 Hall of Fame coaches in this sectional.
And you look at, and the most unique thing here is Reed May. I mean, his team, maybe at 5-3, he's had better teams, let's face it. I think he'll be the first person to tell you that, but that's a team that you don't want to have to bet against. But Triton Central, I really think, and keep in mind that Cecina and Triton Central play back on September 30th. It was a 1-point game that went into overtime. Triton hit a field goal with under a minute in the fourth quarter, but they failed on the 2-point conversion. So think about that. That's an even or. So Triton Central, Timmy Abel has had a great year from Hayden Ball, their running back and linebacker. He's the team's, he's the school's valedictorian, best athlete on both sides of the football. Jay Stuckey, their quarterback, at nearly 1,800 yards passing. Brad Schulter, wide receiver, over 1,000 yards for him. And then you talk about athletic. Cecina's got some of the best we're going to see in all of this class, including Tamir Woods, preseason All-State pick for our Indiana Football Day. Just David Mendez, their quarterback linebacker. Adam Young, their defensive lineman. Mason Berryall, the defensive back. Tell you what, this is going to be a classic matchup when these two teams play each other, and I really believe they will, and I think they'll be playing for the championship.
Sectional number 40, 8 teams here. Forest Park will be at North Posey. Mitchell travels to Paoli. Tell City on the road at Crawford County. And Perry Central will be at Evansville Mater Dei. Mater Dei ranked number 4. So Mater Dei ranked number 4 because they're pretty good. But Perry Central with 7 wins. North Posey, Paoli, and Mater Dei all have 6 wins. Some really, really solid football teams in this sectional.
There are some really solid football teams, but Evansville Mater Dei playing in the Southern Indiana Athletic Conference with one of the best quarterbacks in the state, in Mason Wunderlich. Joey Pierce, the running back, defensive back, is as good as you can. But you're having to deal with so much when you're having to compete against Mater Dei. Number one, you're dealing with the tradition, one of the greatest coaches in all of sports in Indiana high school history, and you're talking about the Lord of the Rings himself, Mike Gable. So you look at that. You look at North Posey. Wayland's done a wonderful job there, coming in the top half of that break. Paoli Neal's done an outstanding job with the Rams. And I tell you what, I think that's what we're going to see in the semifinals. We're going to see North Posey and Paoli. But I really believe that Mater Dei is a team that could really, really make some noise. They're a team that could, again, find itself playing in a state championship game if they get hot at the right time. And certainly their schedule has made them formidable.
All right, 2A, the pairings in the books. When we come back, we'll talk about the 3A. The broadcast of the IHSAA Champions Radio Network is presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. It's being heard on great radio stations across the state of Indiana like WXKU in Austin, WCSI AM and FM in Columbus, WTRE AM and FM in Greensburg, WYIR in Ball City, WBNL AM and FM in Boonville, WCJZ in Jasper, in Cannleton, WITZ in Jasper, WQKZ in Jasper Ferdinand, and WREF in Seabreeze, Kentucky. You're listening to the IHSAA Champions Radio Network presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. This is your IHSAA.
Propane service with barrel gas is easy. That's right. Get your quote today. Propane service with barrel gas is easy. That's right. Get your quote today. Propane service with barrel gas is easy. That's right. Get your quote today.
Come rain or shine, the job must get done. We get you, Steve in Denver and Kay in Fresno. Always make it happen. And we're here for you with 24/7 customer support. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Propane service with barrel gas is easy. That's right. Get your quote today. Propane service with barrel gas is easy. That's right. Get your quote today.
Come rain or shine, the job must get done. We get you, Steve in Denver and Kay in Fresno. Always make it happen. And we're here for you with 24/7 customer support. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Propane service with barrel gas is easy. That's right. Get your quote today. Propane service with barrel gas is easy. That's right. Get your quote today. Propane service with Feral Gas is easy. That's right. Get your quote today.
To the 2022 IHSAA Football Tournament Pairing Show presented by the Indianapolis Colts on the IHSAA Champions Radio Network. This is your IHSAA. I'm Bob Lovell with Paul Condry and Paul. Let's go to sectional number 29. We start out with 3A. Number 6, Western Boone will be at Crawfordsville. Number 10, Tri-West of Hendricks travels to Danville Community. Monrovia on the road at Purdue Polytech.
Let's go to the top at sectional 25.
Let's
How about that? The north. Let's go to the north first.
Let's go to the north.
How about that? I gave you the wrong piece of paper, Coach.
You know what? It's all right. It's my mistake. Sectional number 25. Okay.
Get a mulligan on that one.
I do get a mulligan on that.
Absolutely. Sectional 25.
Sectional number 25. Well, quite frankly, it's a situation where we
got them on the screen.
Got them on the screen. All right. So we got Twin Lakes at West Lafayette. Boone Grove will travel to Calumet. Griffith be on the road at River Forest. Hanover Central travels to Rensselaer Central. Paul, tell me what you think about this match.
Two-horse race, Coach. Make no mistake about it. West Lafayette, Max Millis, quarterback. Shane Fry's kids have played great football all season long. Luke Hammond, Ben Burgett, Fallon Head linebacker, Matthew Richardson been as good. Hanover Central is a unique story in its own right. Brian Parker's trying to get that relatively new program continuing in a positive direction. They got Kyle Hastley, Matt Kuntz, Gannon House, some guys that can make some noise there. So this is going to come down to a Hanover Central, West Lafayette final. However, I might point out Calumet has had a great year under Cody French. They are going to have a great opportunity because they play Hanover Central on Friday. If they can play with Hanover Central on Friday in the regular season finale, I might change my opinion, Coach.
There you go. Sectional 26, Mishawaka Marion at West Noble. Lakeland at Knox. South Bend Clay at Jimtown. Fairfield on the road at Glenn. All West Noble, Jimtown at 6 wins. You got Knox, Fairfield with 5, Glenn at even. Again, another balanced sectional for us to talk about.
Yeah, the last 3 sectionals in this one have come down to Mishawaka Marion and Jimtown. And I would argue the fact that regardless that Mishawaka Marion is at 2 and 6, I think you can throw that out the window. I think the world of Mike Davidson and how he coaches them up. Rice Lassane, their quarterback, they have been injury-plagued all season long. But I talked with Mike earlier this week, and he says they're peaking right at the right time. But Jimtown is a team that could make some noise. I really like what Corey Stoner's done there. Connor McPhee, Bishop Williams, Connor Watts, some guys to name a few. Sam Garner playing well. Caden Rogers, those guys are really good. Fairfield is kind of the dark horse coming into the bottom half, but I think we're going to see Jimtown in maybe West Noble or Mishawaka Marion in the finale.
Sectional 27, first round matchups. Number 4, Norwell at Heritage. Fort Wayne Concordia Lutheran travels to Woodland. Number 14, Yorktown on the road at Delta. And Belmont will be on the road at Garrett. Norwell 8-0. Paul, what a great season they're having, ranked as highly as they are for a reason. But Heritage with 5 wins, Yorktown with 6 wins, Woodland at 4-4.
Now you'd have a hard time and be hard pressed to figure out a team playing better football defensively than Norwell. Lead the state in defense, giving up only 4 points a game. They are outstanding, unbeaten at 8-0. And I really think that guys like Luke Graff, Aiden Rusu, Leighton Bailey, guys that play great football. And in the bottom half of that bracket, I really like what Yorktown, I think Mike Wilhelm's group has done. I think we're going to see that team get to the finals. Mason Malton, their quarterback, has played well. Jalen Thomas, Luke Wilhelm, Aiden Ewing, all have played very, very good football. And I think we're going to see that Norwell-Yorktown matchup come to fruition. But, it's hard to say that, hey, listen, Heritage had a great. Woodland has played well in spots. But, I think that you got to go with the numbers. And Norwell's the best team in that section. I'm going to say that they're going to win it all.
Sectional number 28, Indianapolis Bishop Chatard, ranked number 3, will be at Northwestern. Number 8, Garin Catholic on the road at number 12, Oak Hill. Tippecanoe Valley will be at Peru. Paul, I love the Garin Catholic Oak Hill matchup early on, quite frankly. And Tippy Valley with 8 wins. Chatard at 5-3. Hamilton Heights, love what John Kirshner's done with his guys at 6-2. McConaughey 6-2, and Gary Catholic at 4-4. This is a tough sectional.
It really is. Oak Hill's had a great year. But once again, Kyle Turnachuk, their great running back, has been outstanding. Indianapolis Chittard, Drew Van Fleet, their quarterback, Sam Fienda, their linebacker, has been playing great. Tippecanoe Valley's had a great year. Make no mistake about that. 8-0. Nate Parker, the running back, has played well. Guerin Catholic, I tell you what, there's a team that's pretty good there, led by Will Freeman, Jack Cherry, Josh Holbaum, McConicle. It's Spraxton, Berner, Fuddy Kyle, A.J. Kelly. I know we don't have enough time to mention all the guys, but this is a talent-laden sectional. But it's hard to bet against Chittard and the tradition-rich and the schedule that they play.
Well, we are through the northern part of the state for 3A. When we come back, we'll talk about that. Before we do that, though, let's pause for a station identification on the IHSA Champions Radio Network. Come back. You're listening to the IHSA Champions Radio Network presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. This is your IHSAA.
Fans. And then there are fans. The diehards. They're those that don't just have a seat at a game, but a home away from home. The ones who made home field advantage a real thing. Who believe the horseshoe isn't just a logo, but a way of life.
You're good at making big announcements. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
My life has changed tenfold. I mean, from what I was doing prior to sheet metal, I can't even express how great it's become.
Future's bright in this industry because it's not going away.
With the union trades, I am earning an associate's degree without any college debt whatsoever.
Right now is one of the greatest times to start this process. With our benefits packages and our retirement packages, we're very tough to beat.
I'm Bob Lovell with Paul Condry. This is the 2022 IHSAA Football Tournament Pairing Show presented by the Indianapolis Colts on the IHSAA Champions Radio Network. This is your IHSAA. Paul, we go to the southern part of the state, Sectional 29. Number 6, Western Boone will travel to Crawfordsville. Number 10, Tri-West Hendricks on the road at Danville Community. Monrovia will play at Purdue Polytechnic, and Speedway travels to North Montgomery. Balance has been the key word throughout the night, and I think it's true in this sectional. Here you have Tri-West with 6 wins, Webo having a great year with 7 wins, Speedway at 5-3, North Montgomery at 4-4.
Yeah, Western Boone's only loss of the year was a road game against Tri-West back on the 9th of September, 41-34 there. Western Boone, I just think what the coach has done there has been outstanding. He's got a great one in running back Trevor Weekly, 1,000-yard rusher, 10 touchdowns. Cannon Bruins, the linebacker, is one of the best football players in Indiana, regardless of class. 91 tackles, 18 tackles for a loss, 7 sacks, 3 fumble recovers, 2 forced fumbles, and that's all in 7 games. Rowan Dermer, the quarterback, has played really well, and I think Coach Pelly has to be very excited about that group. But this Tri-West team, Tri-West is trying to get in a situation they can go back-to-back sectionals for the first time since 03-05. And look at that group. Ty Owens, their quarterback, 1,400 yards. Noah Lean and Cole Morgan, the wide receivers, combined for 770 yards, 7 touchdowns. Defensively, they can anchor things up with Ethan Elsley. But Speedway is the team that's really, I think, the team to look for in the bottom half of that bracket, Bob. Carter Watson, the quarterback, has thrown for almost 1,400 yards. Their linebacker, Carmel Perry, has played very, very well. 75 tackles coming into this weekend. So that's a neat one. But I'm going to say that this Western Boone team, and I think they're seeing some of the residual effects from those deep postseason runs that they had just a few years ago. I still think that is part of the effect, and I think Coach Justin Pelly and Pops Denny Pelly, the Hall of Famer. I think it's a good look for this one to get to the championship game.
Sectional number 30. Vincennes Lincoln travels to number 2, Gibson Southern. Owen Valley on the road at Mount Vernon and Posey. Princeton Community at West Vigo. And Washington at Pike Central. You know what? Gibson Southern 8-0, played for championship a year ago. OV 8-0, Vincennes, Mount Vernon 4-4. But you have to start with you win a championship, you lose a lot of guys, you come back and look what you do.
You lose a Division I quarterback.
Yeah.
And so what you do is you plug in a young kid, a junior by the name of Tanner Boyd. He comes in and all he's done is for throwing over 1,000 yards. 77% completion rate.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. 13 touchdowns,
Right.
2 interceptions. Devon Roberts, the outstanding running back, has been very, very good. Brock Fogger, the defensive lineman. Brady Clem, defensive lineman, has played very well. And they've got a lot of young kids playing still. And I think this is a Gibson Southern team. I think that if you look at the big picture here for what Coach Hart has done, they've won 19 straight football games. But once again, you and I have done this show since the Stone Age days. But the reality of it is those kids playing all those reps for week after week after week, and that plays big dividends. And I think that's going to be the big difference for Owen Valley. And I think Owen Valley's had a great year. Brody Lester, their quarterback, has been outstanding for over 1,500 yards passing. Christian McDowell, the running back, over 1,000 yards rushing for him. Dylan Riss, a great linebacker. I think this is a great story, what Owen Valley has done. I really like what Coach Gibson has done there. He's turned that program, the culture of that program around, but I think it's going to be Gibson Southern advancing to the championship game just because they've been there, they've done that, and they got the rings to prove it.
Sectional number 31. Number 7, Lawrenceburg travels to number 13, South Dearborn. Greensburg will be on the road at Rushville Consolidated. Indian Creek will travel to Franklin County, and Batesville will be on the road at Centerville. South Dearborn, Lawrenceburg with 7-1 records, Indian Creek with 6 wins, Batesville even at 4-4, Centerville at 5-2. This is some solid football.
How about this one? Lawrenceburg and South Dearborn play each other on Friday.
Right.
This regular season finale. And they'll play each other in the first round of the playoffs. We've seen this happen before where one team beat the team in the regular season finale and they flip the script. That will be the question we'll see here. Lawrenceburg has done a great job. Quarterback Logan A. Haas has been outstanding. Jacob Pierce, their linebacker. Tegan Bennett, their running back. South Dearborn is a team I think that you got to keep an eye on with Adam Kunkel at quarterback. 2,400 yards passing. Number 1 in the state right now. 9th in the country in passing. He can flat out get it out. Austin Ballard's been outstanding. 51 catches so far for him, but Olai Babcock, C.J. Evans, Hudson Shackelford, their wide receivers, all juniors, all have over 300 yards receiving. They are a tremendous football game. The winner of that game right there is going to bring home the hardware.
There you have it. Sectional number 32, Scottsburg at Corydon Central. North Harrison travels to number 11, Southridge. Madison Consolidated at Heritage Hills. And Charlestown will travel to Salem. Charlestown, Southridge, both have 7 wins. North Harrison with 6. Madison and Heritage Hills at 500. But you really have to like Charlestown and Southridge in this section.
Yeah, Southridge defense is outstanding, giving up only in double digits twice this season. One of the top defensive teams in the country, or in the state. Number 6 to be exact, but South led by Reed Schroeder, Caleb Kramer, Yamil Ario, Luke Meyer. Charlestown had a great year for their quarterback. I tell you what, Clay McClellan has played very, very well. Sean McPhee, their linebacker, has been outstanding. North Harrison, I really like what Mark's kids have done down there. Sawyer Wetzel's had a sensational year. Callum's our wide receivers. And Will Luffler, Owen Whitaker, just a couple of guys who went out with injuries. That's been their biggest bugaboo right there. You lose 2 guys of that kind of quality, and you're going to have a difficult time winning a postseason situation. But it's still been a pretty good year for North Harrison. I think that this Southridge is the team that I'm going to say is going to bring home the hardware, Bob.
I think you could be right, Paul Condry. And the IHSAA would like to thank its 2 presenting sponsors for today's broadcast, the Indianapolis Colts and Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. This is your IHSAA. And the Colts are the presenting sponsor of the 50th IHSAA State Football Tournament throughout Indiana this fall. Farm Bureau Insurance, the official presenting sponsor of the IHSAA Champions Network, the most comprehensive state high school broadcast network in America. Thank you both for your continued support of the IHSAA's 407 member schools and 160,000 student athletes. This is your IHSAA. When we come back, we'll talk about 4A, 5A, and 6A. You're listening to the IHSAA Champions Radio Network presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. This is your IHSAA.
Propane service with Barrel Gas is easy. That's right. Get your quote today. Propane service with Barrel Gas is easy. That's right. Get your quote today. Propane service with Barrel Gas is easy. That's right. Get your quote today. Propane service with Barrel Gas is easy. That's right. Get your quote today. Propane service with Barrel Gas is easy. That's right. Get your quote today.
Hey, Fridge, did you know Auto Trader lets me shop for cars by monthly payment so I know what I'll pay before I buy?
Cool.
Was that a refrigerator joke?
Kid and chill.
All right, just stick to making ice. I didn't mean right now. Hey, Fridge, did you know Auto Trader lets me shop for cars by monthly payment so I know what I'll pay before I buy?
Cool.
Was that a refrigerator joke?
Kid and chill.
All right, just stick to making ice. I didn't mean right now.
Propane service with Barrel Gas is easy. That's right. Get your quote today. Propane service with Barrel Gas is easy. That's right. Get your quote today.
Back to the 2022 IHSAA Football Tournament Pairing Show presented by the Indianapolis Colts on the IHSAA Champions Radio Network. This is your IHSAA, and the Champions Network's heard on great stations around the state like W8WK in Auburn, WZBD in Bern, W8WK in Kendallville, that's AM and FM, WJOB AM and FM in Hammond, WFNI and AFM in Indianapolis, WIOU in Kokomo, WLQI in Rensselaer, and WIRN in Rensselaer also. Paul Condry, let's go to sectional number 17. Norwell travels to Culver Academies in round one. Kankakee Valley at number 6 New Prairie. Gary Westside will be at Hobart, and Highland will travel to East Chicago Central. Your Bricks ball are 5-3. Gary West at 6-2. New Prairie 7-1. Lowell at 5-3. KV at 4-4. Like it, like this sectional. Not necessarily because your Bricks are in it, but because it's pretty loaded.
Yeah, the Lowell Red Devils, make no mistake about it, are the team in that first game there against Culver Academy seem to have the best. Riley Bank, their quarterback, has done a great job of running Coach Kilmer's offense there. I think that's the team there. Kankakee Valley, Kirk Kennedy's done a great job of resurrecting that program. However, this is a New Prairie team that just lost its first football game, led by Tavion Ortman, member of our Indiana Football Digest Primetime 25, one of the most talented linebackers in the state. Munguia, the running back, has had a great season. Marshall Kimiak, the quarterback, has been outstanding. Dylan Wilson, also a great one there. And Bryce Van Brain, I believe I got that name pronounced correctly there. The defensive back has been solid there. So you look at that, Lowell and New Prairie, I think, are the teams I think are going to advance to that second portion of it. And then in the bottom half of the tournament, Gary Westside has had a great year. Coach Bulger's done a wonderful job. But I think this Hobart team playing with a lot of passion right now. They had one of their former athletes and former 3 or 4 year starter pass away this past week, and they're playing with a little bit of a sore in their heart, if you will. But I think that they have too much gas in the tank for Gary West. I know Ehrlich, the quarterback, 60% passer so far, one of the top guys. Trey Gibson, the running back, has been very, very good. Junior linebacker Brad Gibson has also been a good one. And then you look at Highland and East Chicago in the back of that. I look at Hobart advancing to the championship game, maybe, where they'll get another opportunity matched up against that New Prairie team, or their arch rival and good friends, the Lowell Red Devils. Really good friends, Bob.
Sectional number 18. Wawasee at number 12, Logansport. Northridge travels to South Bend Riley. Number 5, Northwood at South Bend Washington. And South Bend St. Joseph will be on the road at Plymouth. And Paul, Northwood sits there at 8-0. What a really good football team they are. Riley with 5 wins. Northridge with 5 wins. The Berries at Logansport with 6 wins. But I think you start in this sectional talking about Northwood.
Hey, interesting note, Bob, since 2000, only 3 teams from the North have won state titles. Lowell, Dwenger did it twice. That's only 3 teams.
Right.
There's a team in this sectional that could be a team that could bring home the hardware and bring it all home, and that's the Northwood Panthers. I really like what Nate Andrews has done with his group, outstanding senior group. Loves his senior group. Jace Adams, offensive lineman. Montana Green, J.J. Payne, great athlete at wide receiver. Jesse Wilson, Ethan Evers, Ben Fadaruso, and Caden Loam. All those guys make up a great senior class. That is going to be a tough team to knock out. Northridge, who got to the state championship game a year ago. But I don't think they have enough gas in the tank. This is a Logan team. Grayson Long, outstanding student athlete, leads the teams in tackle and receiving. Jeremiah Miller, all-state player. 18 seniors who were sophomores on their 2020 sectional championship are all seniors now, so that gives Logan a good opportunity in the top half of that bracket. And make no mistake about it, this is Northwood's tournament to lose. I don't think that's going to happen.
Sectional 19, East Noble at Angola. Fort Wayne Southside travels to Leo. New Haven will be on the road at DeKalb. And number 11, Columbia City travels to Fort Wayne. Columbia City might be the surprise team of the year, Paul, with 7-1 record. Leo at 5-3. Angola playing great football at 6-2. New Haven at 500.
Brett Fox has done a masterful job with the Columbia City football program. The program that doesn't have a lot of football success in years past, but he's done a great job leaning on Colton Piper, their quarterback, who's been outstanding. Dominic Chacon, the linebacker, has been good. Josh Arndt's also a solid player. They got 3 players closing in on 500 yards rushing, so it makes it difficult to game plan against them. I tell you what, I really like what they've gotten from seniors Justin Gore, Ethan Sievers, and James Getz. Leo's had a pretty good, it took one on the chin this past weekend, but Max Lowe for the running back that's been good. Angola has a whole bunch of 3-year starters led by Tyler Call, along with Jack Archibald, Jake Land, Ethan Miller, and Andre Tagliaferri. Outstanding for this group there. And then you take the X factor, and that's Fort Wayne. Lamarian Nelson, 9th in the state in rushing. He's a guy that could create all kinds of difficulties for Columbia City. But I think we're gonna see a matchup between Angola and Leo in that semifinals. Not to say anything against Luke Amsis' East Noble's team. He'd probably think otherwise, but I think we'll see that Columbia City team find its way to the winner's circle for the first time since 1993.
Sectional number 20, Mississinawa travels to Marion. Huntington North at Muncie Central. Kokomo, number 4 in the polls, travels to Frankfort. And Western will be on the road at Jake County. The Cats are 8-0 at Kokomo. Great year for them. Mississinawa and Western also 5-3, but I think you start with the job that's being done at Kokomo.
Yeah, no question about it. I think Coach the Colby clan there has done a wonderful job. They got 3 running backs with 500 yards rushing or more, and Darian Story, Ibn Barker, Keegan Name. Also, you got 2 outstanding defensives in Shane Spear and Reese Beard. Western, Mitchell Kempley, their quarterback, over 1,000 yards. Also got some guys who are playing well. A lot of 3-year players with 3 guys with over 200 yards rushing. Make no mistake about it, you got to keep an eye on a guy like Carter Jarvis, their linebacker. He's got over 100 tackles on the season. Once again, it's going to be Kokomo's sectional to win or lose, in my opinion.
That wraps up the northern part of the state in 4A. We'll come back with the southern part. And remember, don't forget to get out and watch some football next week. You're going to be, 2 weeks from now, you're going to be loving some football. You're listening to the IHSAA Champions Radio Network presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. This is your IHSAA.
Inspired by touch, by play, by listening and laughter. Inspired by family gatherings and one-on-one conversations. Inspired by long walks, long lives, and lives simply lived well. Inspired by compassion, by healing, by grace and strength. What inspires us at Franciscan Health is you. Franciscan Health, inspiring health.
When I'm not racing at the track, I do like to take things a little bit slower. But even with my foot off the gas, I'm still driven to save lives. So if you're like me and you like hunting and fishing, you could do something to save lives too. Just say yes to being an organ donor when you get your hunting or fishing license online, or when you renew your Indiana driver's license. Join the 4 million Hoosiers who have signed up to save lives. Here, fishy, fishy, fishy.
The goal isn't graduation day. It's a better every day after. It's the first day in your new career. Your first pay raise. The 5th day of that week-long vacation. It's the first paid holiday home with your family. Or the day of your last car loan payment. Much sooner than you thought. At Ivy Tech Community College, we don't just care about your degree. We care about your life. Let's get started at ivytech.edu.
Back, everyone, to the 2022 IHSAA Football Tournament Pairing Show presented by the Indianapolis Colts on the IHSAA Champions Radio Network. This is your IHSAA, and also thanks to some of the great stations around the state that bring you this show on the IHSAA Champions Network, like WRIN in Rensselaer and Lafayette, WIBN in Rensselaer and Earl Park, WXVW and AM and FM in Jeffersonville, WSLM, AM and FM in Salem, WEFM in Michigan City, and WHBU and AM and FM in Anderson. Paul Condry, want to remind everybody about Twitter. I know you've got watch parties and you're all excited and having fun.
Excited. And don't forget, let us know where you're at IHSAA TV, or the other Twitter address is at IHSAA, the number 1. So make sure you let us know where you're at, and Heath Shanahan and the crew in there will be able to get things going, so we'll know where everybody's at. So, but thanks for joining us today.
Sectional number 21 in 4A. First round, number 10, Brebeuf Jesuit at Northview. Lebanon will be at number 9, Mooresville. Number 2, Roncalli travels to Indianapolis Shortridge. And Indianapolis, Washington will be on the road at Indianapolis Crispus Attucks. It's a great sectional. I mean, this is a great sectional.
This is when you put great in caps, in all caps.
This is a really, really good sectional.
You have 3 teams here that could wreak havoc on anybody, but that Roncalli team, which had its first loss this past week, out of state, I might add, they're a team that you got to keep an eye on, led by Trevor Locke, Brady New, Luke Scardabet, Luke Billerman, Jackson McNeely, that big offensive line. 3 of those guys already have got Division I scholarship. And then you only have a running back in Luke Henson, who's one of the best in the United States right now, over 2,100 yards and 25 touchdowns. Roncalli is a team in the bottom half of the bracket that will advance there. And the top half is interesting because you've got Brebeuf under the direction of Nolan Buckman and Jack Mayers and Bryson Buford and Devin McElwain, matched up and against, I think, that Mooresville team that you have to love. Nick Patterson is one of the top quarterbacks in the state for the Mike Gillen coach football team. 1,600 yards, 19 touchdowns, only 6 picks. He's got 5 wide receivers, Bob, with over 100 yards receiving. And, of course, they've got one of the best guys who can tackle people all over the place, and Landon Clemens with 95 tackles, Kellen Colpin with 90 tackles. The Mooresville team has all the stuff. Lebanon, how about the year for senior captains Carson Toole, Landon Fouts, Mackay Smith? Those guys have been outstanding. This is a great, and then the reality of it is you have a Brebeuf team that is outstanding as well, led by Nolan Buckman, Bryson Buford. I tell you what, this is a tremendous section, one of the best in all of Indiana.
Sectional number 22, Richmond travels to Connersville. Beech Grove will be on the road at Newcastle. Number 1, New Palestine will be at Mount Vernon of Fortville. They're number 13 and the defending champs. And Pendleton Heights travels to Greenfield Central. New Pal, Mount Vernon. Greenfield Central's had a great run. I love everything about this sectional.
New Palestine's got that kind of mojo that they had when they were in that great run a couple years ago, and it starts up front with Luke Burgess, a big offensive lineman, defensive lineman, member of our Indiana Football Digest Primetime 25. He's committed to go to Louisville. But quarterback Danny Tippett has been outstanding, almost 1,500 yards passing, 72% passing. That's outstanding and off the charts. Grayson Thomas, running back, has had a great year. I tell you what, I really like what he's been able to do in what he's doing. Eli Hook, their linebacker, has been outstanding. Auburn and Fort Bell may have lost a little bit of the mojo that they had last year, but you got to think that some of those guys who had a chance to fit those state championship rings have got to be something that they're not going to let that thing go idly by. And I really think that this is a New Palestine team that has all the pieces of the puzzle that we could see them play Indianapolis on Thanksgiving Day weekend. But of course, Sectional 21 plays Sectional 22. You know what that means? A great regional matchup is coming, guaranteed.
Sectional number 22. Let's go right to it. Richmond at Connorsville, Beech Grove. Oh, we already did this, didn't we? Didn't we do?
Yes, we just did this. You're on to 23.
Let's go to 23. Sorry about that. Bedford North Lawrence at Shelbyville. Number 8, Martinsville travels to Greenwood Community. Silver Creek at Jennings County. Edgewood on the road at number 3, East Central. Martinsville, tough loss last weekend at 6-2. East Central having a great year at 7-1. B&L even at 500. But got a couple of teams there in Martinsville and East Central who are intriguing.
You know, you look at East Central, they've won 21. They're looking for their 21st sectional championship. Jake Miners has done a great job coming off a big win this past weekend. He's got players. Cole Burton, their junior quarterback, Josh Ringer, the running back, Braden Rouse, their linebacker, has been outstanding. This Martinsville team is outstanding as well. Tyler Atkins, Braden Shrake, Garrett Saggs have all been outstanding on the offensive side of the football. Defensively, Devin Brenner, Nick Crone has played really well. But I know in talking with the Martinsville group, and Coach Duggar, he was talking a lot about the fact that this is a group that really wants to break the sectional draw. It's been 1996 since Martinsville won a sectional, and he thinks that with his senior group, 8 of them that are starting, 8 of those seniors that are starting right now were part of his sophomore group. He really thinks they have what it takes, but that East Central team is going to be a formidable opponent in the bottom half of the bracket. I look at it a potential great matchup between Martinsville and East Central in the championship tilt.
Sectional 24, we wrap up 4A. Evansville Memorial, number 13 at Evansville Bossy. Boonville will travel to Evansville Harrison. Evansville Central on the road at number 7 Evansville Wrights. In the semifinals, Jasper will take on the Evansville Memorial Evansville Bossy winner. And Paul, Memorial having another one of those years. Wrights having a solid year. But it's a sectional where everybody knows each other and have tremendous rivalries.
And you look at Boonville, also a great year at 6-2. Clay Connor, the quarterback at Boonville, has had a great year. Reese Rowder, the running back, Carter Wolf, the linebacker, Marquise Ballard, wide receiver, defensive guy, made that group good. And, of course, you mentioned Memorial. Matthew Fisher has stepped up and had a great year at quarterback. Caleb Elsperman has been outstanding in his season. And, of course, if you look at Jasper's a group that, they've got the perfect bye for them. They're sitting in there because Memorial's got to play Bossy, and they're going to be waiting in the wings. This is going to be neat. And then you look at the bottom with Wrights. Wrights has been outstanding, and you give a lot of credit to Corey Brunson and his group. Ben Davis, the quarterback, has been outstanding. Jonas Burnett, running back. Aiden Wells, Levi Oxley, defensive lineman, has been outstanding. This is a fun sectional. They all live right next to each other down there, and this is going to be it's going to be an old-fashioned slobber knocker, Coach.
All right, we're through the 4A. We'll come back and do 5A. Today's broadcast of the IHSA Champions Network brought to you in part by Ivy Tech College. And Ivy Tech degree means you get hands-on training and state-of-the-art technology. It also means you're earning $10K more a year than if you just had a high school diploma. So get started at ivytech.edu. Paul Condry and I will be back. You're listening to the IHSAA Champions Radio Network presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. This is your IHSAA.
You're good at basement basketball.
We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this
remains yours. This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
It's 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon. You have two choices. Option 1, take 2 nanoseconds to reach over and put on your seatbelt. Or option 2, decide it's too much work for a Saturday and don't put on your seatbelt. As the seatbelt alarm continues to sing the song of its people, you roll your eyes. You're just going down the block, you'll be fine. You take a turn to the left, and that's when you see it.
Just wear your seatbelt. It's an easy way to save your own life. The Indiana Criminal Justice Institute wants to remind you that choices matter. Click it.
Welcome everyone to the 2022 IHSAA Football Tournament Pairing Show presented by the Indianapolis Colts on the IHSAA Champions Radio Network. This is your IHSAA. I do want to thank the tremendous stations around the state that bring you this show, like WEFM in Michigan City, WHBU in Anderson, WBAT AM and FM in Marion, WMRI also in Marion, WXFN in Muncie, WCJC in Van Buren, WLTI in Newcastle, and WKBV AM and FM in Richmond. 5A, we're in the northern part of the state with sectional number 9. There are 4 teams. Sectional begin with Munster at Merrillville. Merrillville ranked number 2. Hammond Central travels to Hammond Morton, and you'll have the winners mashed up in that. All right, Paul, Hammond Central, Merrillville, pretty solid teams.
We're guaranteed one thing, Coach, that we're going to have a new champion in 5A. Let's start with that.
Right.
Indianapolis Cathedral has moved up a notch to 6A, so everybody can get excited about that. But this is a Maryville team that I've seen, I think, 4 times so far this year. Brad Cease has done a spectacular job, but he's got players.
Yeah.
You win championships because you got players, and he's got one of the best. The kid's got about a half a dozen to maybe a dozen Division I offers in Philip Roche, defensive back. Fred Rechtick, also the kid in the backfield, has played very well. But the defensive line of McClain, Young, and Stevens are linebacking core. And then the defensive line of Elmore, McGee, and Rogers are just absolutely tough as nails. The Bucks offense, as Indiana Football Digest primetime 25-man, and Justin Marshall, one of the most explosive players in all of Indiana, and certainly one of the top in the DAC, going to Colorado State, so averaging over 100 yards rushing and 400 yards receiving so far this year. Keep an eye out for their wide receiver and sophomore John Peters. But this is plain and simple Maryville's tournament to win. They are hands down the best team in this one. Hammond Central's had a really good year, but this is a difference between night and day with Maryville. They are tremendous.
Sectional 10, number 10, Valparaiso at LaPorte, Chesterton at Michigan City. You kind of like Valpo in this, in a sense. They're 5-3, playing well. As you said, this may be their sectional to win.
Yeah, Michigan City is the defending champion. Valparaiso, of course, won it Sectional 9 in 2021. But Valparaiso, if they get Travis Davis back, the running back, at 100%, that could really give them an extra knot. The speedster, when he's playing, they're at their very, very best. But look at Valparaiso. They lost 3 games to Crown Point, Maryville, and Penn. That's a combined record of 21-3. They are an outstanding group, but junior offensive lineman Matt Hofer, one of the best in the business up there. Chesterton, their strength is based on their defense. Hayden DeMarco, Danny Jovia, Isaiah Fowler, Connor Costaforis. Michigan City has one of the best athletes in all of Indiana, and Jaden Hart. Keep an eye on him. But their biggest question for Michigan City is, how is Tyler Bush? He was injured in the fourth quarter of their game on Friday. And LaPorte, Brendan Balka is an absolute beast playing linebacker. I know those guys are all watching today. Drew Flores, Javel Broom, Dylan Salisbury, who stepped into the quarterback role and played really, really well in the Battle of LaPorte County on Friday in the game that I broadcast. This is going to be a fun game to see between LaPorte and Valparaiso. I did that game earlier in the season where Valpo won 42-3. Right. I don't think we're going to see that type of spread this next time around.
Sectional number 11, Concord will be at Goshen. South Bend Adams at number 4, Mishawaka. The Cavemen playing well. Keith Kinder's kids playing excellent football.
Yeah, but keep in mind the guys, I know they're down on the field at Steel Stadium right now, so I want to say hi to all the Cavemen out there. But this is the Cavemen's tournament to plain and simple one. Dawson Nowacki, the member of the Indiana Football Digest Primetime 25, one of the top offensive linemen. He's a 4-year starter. Tanner Parmley, also another big kid up front that's played well. 3-year starting two-way lineman Isaac. These guys, when you have that kind of talent up there, you've got things that are going to good happen for you. Isaac Valdez has had a great year. Their quarterback, Brady Fisher, has done a wonderful job. And if Concord can continue to get the great play from Armin Kultukian, one of the best two-way players in that sectional, they're going to continue to give Mishawaka fits, because I think we'll see that Concord-Mishawaka rematch. But I think Mishawaka has too many horses in the stable, Coach. I think I'm going to see that team win the Section 11 trophy.
Sectional number 12, Anderson at Fort Wayne Northside number 7. Number 1, Snyder of Fort Wayne at Fort Wayne Bishop Dwenger, they're number 8. And Paul, Dwenger, Snyder, what a battle last week. Goes to Snyder. A little surprised at the spread, but anytime these two teams play, again, you're playing really, really close to one another. But those two teams are solid. Northside having a really good run right now.
Yeah, 3 teams from the Fort in the same section, all in the top 10. Snyder and Dwenger, as Bob, you mentioned before, squared off on Friday 28-0. It was all Snyder. But the reality of this is this is a Fort Wayne North team where their losses are to Snyder and Carroll. So those are 2 really, really good football teams. But Snyder, 23 seniors for Kurt Tittman's team. That makes a difference. They have 4 shutouts in 8 games. They are going to be a special team to keep an eye out. Look for Luke Humpert, the quarterback. He hasn't thrown an interception all season long. He's a pretty special player. Langston Lavelle, the running back, is good. Last night, they blocked a field goal and a scoop and a score from Kendall Billingsley on Friday night. So they've got all the horses. Dwenger, C.J. Davis, a primetime 25 kid who moved there during the summer, is a guy who's got some serious quicks. Carter Minix, also a great player there. Christian Lazota. And then on the Fort Wayne North side, you got to look at Jonte Lambert, over 1,500 yards rushing for him. Bronte Johnson has hauled in 788 yards of receiving. He's a good one there. Keep in mind that North lost to Snyder 20-18 in week 1. They beat Dwenger 32-27 in week 2 and only lost to Carroll by 8. So this is a Fort Wayne North team that could really, really kind of change things around.
Right.
Poor Anderson. They're going to have to deal with Northside, and then, of course, Northside's going to get to that championship game. And regardless, it's going to be a great one between Snyder and Dwenger.
Farm Bureau Insurance is the official presenting sponsor of the IHSA Champions Network, the most comprehensive state high school broadcast network in America. This is your IHSAA, and you're listening to the IHSA Champions Radio Network presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. This is your IHSAA. We come back and we do the South and 5A on the IHSA Champions Radio Network.
Anna, let's clear the air about vaping. Glue, rat poison, paint. We all know these products contain poisons, like formaldehyde, arsenic, and lead. And these are just a few of the chemicals you'll find in e-cigarette vapor. Let's clear the air, Indiana. Don't puff this stuff. Visit don'tpuffthisstuff.com to join the fight and spread the word.
In addition to Pacers basketball, my family's a big fan of 2 things: rescue dogs and great Connecticut water. So when we adopted Walter to join Bailey, he too gets his bowl of water right from our Connecticut K5 drinking water station. We take our water quality seriously, which is why we also have a whole home water treatment system. Improve your water like we do. Visit ConnecticutIndy.com for your free in-home water test. Connecticut, official sponsor of the Indiana Pacers.
Becoming a licensed sports official is a great way to make a positive difference in the community and support the over 160,000 Indiana student athletes that participate across 22 IHSAA sports. Sports officiating allows you to stay connected to the game, become a role model for our young student athletes, earn extra money, and support the patrons and communities of our IHSAA member schools. To learn more about becoming a licensed IHSAA official, log on to ihsaa.org/officials today.
Welcome everyone to the 2022 IHSAA Football Tournament Pairing Show presented by the Indianapolis Colts on the IHSAA Champions Radio Network. This is your IHSAA. I'm Bob Lovell from Indiana Sports Talk. Paul Condor from the Indiana Football Digest and the Regional Radio Sports Network. Great stations around the state make this all possible, like WYMR in Culver, WKBI in Knox, WAMB, AM and FM in Brazil, WAXI in Rockville, WNDI, AM and FM in Sullivan, WAMB in Terre Haute, WRZR in Lagodi, WZDM in Vincennes, WAMW, AM and FM in Washington, WJOT in Wabash, WRSW in Warsaw. Paul Condry, sectional number 13, 5A South. McCutcheon will be at Decatur Central. Number 13, Plainfield on the road at number 15, West Lafayette. So my Quakers are ranked. Harrison's ranked. Decatur Central had a great start. Have had some injuries, but I really like this sectional.
The unique thing is that we see Decatur Central coming in at 3 and 5. That has not been what we've been accustomed to. And make no mistake about it, they're going to win that first game against McCutcheon. The Plainfield Harrison matchup is a very intriguing matchup, and I like what Terry Peebles has done at West Lafayette. He's got an outstanding quarterback in Ben Henderson, who's thrown for over 1,000 yards. Has been outstanding. He also rushes the ball very, very well. And they got a huge offensive line. Guys like Bricker Crum, C.J. Zeltwanger, Joseph Chase. He's got 7 starters on defense, senior starters on defense, led by Gavin Goodwin, defensive back. They're a very, very formidable group to have to deal with. And I know this is going to be the last go-around at Plainfield. And this is a group led by Hunter Newell, the quarterback, 1,100 yards. Landon Drennan has had an outstanding season so far. For Brian Isaac, Masqualer, I hope I pronounced that right, defensive lineman, has played well. And there's several members of the state championship track team on this team, including Harrison Ribbick, Troy Larison, and J.J. Duckett. But I think Brian Woodard, I know this is his slong song, and he's going out. He wants to go out with a winner. And I think when you're playing for someone who in their final opportunity, I think the Quakers are going to make, I think they're going to play with some passion that maybe a little bit of extra oomph, if you will.
Yeah. Well, you know I'm a proud Quaker. So
and you should be.
Proud of what Brian has done and what he stands for, and certainly hope
one of the best.
It goes well. All right, so sectional number 14, Franklin Community will be at Terre Haute South Vigo. Terre Haute North Vigo at number 3 Whiteland. My Grizzly Cubs are ranked number 9. They're pretty good. Chris Call's done a fantastic job in this. Whiteland has just been a tremendous football team from day one this year, Paul.
Talk to Darren every week. He's on a part of our Indianapolis Colts Coach of the Week panel. And this is a very good football team. Make no mistake about it. They shut out Franklin back at home 21-0 in September. So there is some history there. 2 ranked teams on the opposite side of the bracket. I guess that's where it should be. In Whiteland, Peyton Emberton, the running back, has had an outstanding season. Brady Sandiford, defensive back, has been everywhere. 69 tackles for him. But Franklin Community, a strong senior class, according to Chris Call. I talked to Chris this week. Senior safeties, Bo Baker, Zach Reese, defensive lineman, Jake Houston, Reese Byerly, running back Johns Shepard, moved from tight end to running back in week 1 after his running back was injured. So very unselfish group. And when you have strong senior leadership, that is a recipe for success. Coach, we can throw a coin up in the air in this one. I think that Chris Call's kids are going to be ready to go. But Darren's kids have proven time and time again that they're a team that's destined for greatness. And I think it's going to be a great matchup in the championship game between Franklin and Whiteland.
Sectional number 15, Seymour at Bloomington North. North ranked number 11. Number 5, Bloomington South travels to Columbus East and Hall. And you know what? Bloomington South at 6-1. North, East at 4-4. Seymour 6-2. What about the year Seymour's having?
Pretty good year. Make no mistake about it. But Bloomington North and Bloomington South, what they played earlier this season on September 9th, and the Panthers ended up winning. Seymour's win against the New Albany gave the Owls the shares of the Hoosier Hills Conference Championship for the first time in 21 years. So they've got that going for them. But I think that you look at the 2 Bloomington schools, they certainly played each other for many time and time again. But Bloomington North, I think that's a team that you got to keep an eye on. I think they're going to the sleeper in this tournament. Cody Mikulich, their running back, has had a good year. Dash King, their quarterback. Zeke Trueblood, their linebacker. Graham Freund, their the defensive back, punter. But Seymour, what you can think about this, Bob, they started the year at 1-2. 4 of the victories have come in the final minute on the final drive. The team has been coined the cardiac kids by many people. And then when you have that type of moxie, you're never out of the football game, and I think that says well for what that Seymour team's all about.
All right, we are coming back with the final class. That would be 6A. We have a lot more to go.
Sectional 16.
Sectional 16. We're coming back with that when we come back. And Paul Condry, just think about this. Sectional 16, Floyd Central, Evansville North. Floyd Central at Evansville North. North is ranked number 13. And Newcastle, number 12, will be, Castle there. Sorry for that. Castle, ranked number 12, will be at New Albany. This is I like this.
Yeah, New Albany's the defending champion, but they're coming in at 2-6 this year. I think Castle, under the direction of Coach Hurt, he's going to be dealing with a guy by the name of John Purdy out there with 100 tackles. Also got Aiden Salpetra, sophomore Gavin Leach, both over 60 tackles. I think that group is pretty talented. But Joey Purdy's done a really nice job at North, building a nice culture there. That team could. I'm going to say that team's going to advance to the championship game. The Floyd Central team has got some athletes, but I think North playing in that SIAC has been good. But I think this is Castle's sectional to win, and I really like what Doug's done there. Very, very difficult league to play in, and I think they're at 5-3, sitting in the catbird seat right now, Coach.
All right, we'll come back with 6A. You're listening to the IHSA Champions Radio Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. This is your IHSAA.
Fans. And then there are fans. The diehards. They're those that don't just have a seat at a game, but a home away from home. The ones who made home field advantage a real thing. Who believe the horseshoe isn't just a logo, but a way of life.
You're good at making big announcements. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
My life has changed tenfold. I mean, from what I was doing prior to sheet metal, I can't even express how great it's become.
Future's bright in this industry because it's not going away.
With the union trades, I am earning an associate's degree without any college debt whatsoever.
Right now is one of the greatest times to start this process. With our benefits packages and our retirement packages, we're very tough to beat.
A football tournament pairing show presented by the Indianapolis Colts on the IHSAA Champions Radio Network. This is your IHSAA. Paul Condry, let's start with Sectional 1. Crown Point number 8 at Portage, Lake Central at Lafayette Jefferson. In this sectional, Crown Point 8-0, playing well. Lafayette Jeff at 4-4 can sling it around the yard a little bit at 6-2. Lake Central at 4-4.
Of course, keep in mind in 6A, the Center Grove is a two-time defending champion, and of course, a lot of these teams are going to hope and be able to knock those guys off the perch. But this Crown Point team, under the leadership of Craig Buziana and his all-star coaching staff, have been outstanding all season long. Of course, they knocked Maryville, of course, was in this sectional last year. They've been knocked down to 5A. So Crown Point, with an opportunity this coming Friday to get the first undefeated regular season championships in 2006, and they're led by J.J. Johnson, outstanding quarterback, a big, strong, experienced offensive line. Already set a school record for most points scored in the regular season. Crown Point is a tough out. Lafayette Jeff, 10 guys on this Lafayette Jeff team. They've got 20 tackles or more. But I think the Crown Point schedule and the Lafayette schedule is the challenge, I think, here. And then Lake Central may be the neatest story in the whole thing here. I think Coach Good has done a nice job, but he's leaned heavily on running back Xavier Williams, as well as Jeff Cronin, their linebacker, Dominic Rose, Max Welty, defensive back. Lake Central is kind of like the dark horse in this thing. They've made great strides. But the question is, I compared that Duneland Conference schedule to Lafayette Jeffs in the North Central Conference. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Which schedule prepared these teams to play into the championship round?
Sectional 2, number 6, Carroll of Fort Wayne will be at number 10, Penn. Number 11, Elkhart at Warsaw Community. Elkhart with 7 wins, Penn with 6. It's just there's a lot. Warsaw is 6-2. Whole lot of wins here.
All 4 teams are outstanding. Make no mistake about that. When you look at the big picture here, Penn's 2 losses are to Cathedral and Sissy at St. Xavier. Elkhart's only loss was to Penn. Carroll Fort Wayne is looking for his first undefeated regular season champion since 2014. You can ask for this is just an amazing. Penn has had a great job this season by junior quarterback Nolan McCullough. It's been outstanding. Jake Ballas, the running back, Jackson Griffith, the linebacker. I think Carroll's playing with as much emotion as any football team could possibly be playing with. As if you recall, Coach, you and I talked about Owen Shield, who would be their starting quarterback, passed away this past year because of leukemia. But Jimmy Sullivan has stepped in and has done a great job there in regards to getting the ball out. Nate Starks, their running back. Justin Anderson's been dynamic at linebacker. Ashton Basetsky at defensive line. Elkhart defense is playing lights out. Right now, they have 10 guys at right around 20 tackles apiece, 75 tackles for loss, and then Warsaw. You got to play Bart ball.
Okay, Sectional 3, number 9, Fishers at Fort Wayne Northrop. Homestead at Hamilton Southeastern, ranked number 4. HSC playing great football. Fishers playing well, but this HSC team on a roll right now.
Yeah, and they're playing really good in aspect that they've been able to kind of dictate their own tempo in most things because of 3-sport athlete Ty Bradle, their quarterback, over 1,000 yards passing. Jalen Anderson. You look at Fishers, you got Carson Dunn, who's had an outstanding year, along with Kobe Martin, their running back. Homestead, Peyton Slavens has had a really good year for Homestead. And talking with Chad Zolman earlier this week, this hasn't had the team that they've had in the past. I think we're going to see the battle of Fishers between Fishers and Hamilton Southeastern. Somebody's coming out of that city really, really happy, Coach.
Sectional 4, number 13, Westfield at number 5, Carmel, Zionsville at Noblesville. Always a great battle for Hamilton County when these people get together.
Yeah, two great teams right there with Westfield ranked 13th and Carmel ranked number 5. Carmel under the direction of Jack Esmierczyk, their quarterback, has been outstanding. Will help the linebacker respell and the wide receiver. Cole Ballard has had a great senior campaign at Westfield as the quarterback. Tyler Dykos, the linebacker, has been outstanding. Keep in mind they're just getting Dylan Thiemann back. He's a member of the Indiana Football Digest Primetime 25. He's just now going to get back to play. That's going to be a good one. In the bottom game there, between Zionsville and Noblesville, Zionsville is going to lean heavily on Hanson Hinshaw, the running back. Noblesville is going to call upon Logan Schaffner, to be able to make big plays. But this is Carmel, Westfield. The winner of this one's going to the next round, in my opinion.
Sectional number 5, number 1, Brownsburg at number 7, Ben Davis, Avon at Pike. The Brownsburg BD matchup will be a special one.
You know, Brownsburg, Ben Davis, what can you ask for there? You got, once again, 2 ranked teams in the opening round. Brownsburg is looking for their first regional championship since 1985. Brownsburg, Ben Davis opened up the season against each other. Bulldogs won 21-16 at Ben Davis. Brownsburg, Jaden Whitaker, one of the top run-pass quarterbacks in the state. You look out for him to make some noise. He's got 7 wide receivers and double figures in reception. Ben Davis, what a performance this past Friday for Jason Simmons' group. Tommy Gotkowski did spectacular job. They were down 28-0, came back and won 29-28. This is a great Ben Davis team. Avon Pike, certainly not what they've been in the past. Make no mistake about that. One of those teams is going to be really excited to be advancing to the next round.
Sectional 6, Lawrence North at Cathedral number 3, number 12 number 12 Lawrence Central will be hosting North Central. Paul, Cathedral, LC, good solid teams. Cathedral on a really solid run right now.
Yeah, tough break here and the draw here for Lawrence North. Josh Mickens has had a really good year there, but make no mistake about it, this is Cathedral's tournament. Danny O'Neill, the quarterback, one of the best 11th graders in all of the country. He's got Jerron Tibbs, one of the best receivers in the state. Brennan Wooten, the wide receiver, has been great. Tibbs, 23 straight games. Wooten, 22 straight games with a catch, so the record keeps going on. But Lawrence Central's an interesting group here. Let's see how they're going to do. Bryson Luter, their quarterback, has been good. Mateo Russell, the linebacker, has been solid. But I really believe that the Sectional 6 winner here is going to really dictate who's going to win the state championship game.
Sectional 7, Indianapolis Arsenal Technical at Perry Meridian. Warren Central will be at Southport. wide open sectional.
Warren Central, you got to give Coach Mike Kirshner a ton of credit. Everywhere he goes, he wins. He's one of those great ones that our state has been blessed to have as a guy with the whistle around his neck. And, of course, they've got a wide receiver, Joseph Walker, a primetime 25 cover kid, who's been really, really good. He's going off to Western Michigan. But this one's Warren Central. The other teams, all three of the other teams have struggled. Even though Perry Meridian had a good win this past week, I really believe that Warren's the best team here.
Sectional number 8, Center Grove number 2 at Franklin Central, Columbus North at Jeffersonville. Center Grove is just phenomenal in terms of what they've done the last 2 years.
Yeah, looking for their 12th straight sectional championship. Trojans are also on a 10-game win streak in the postseason. And make no mistake about it, Tyler Cherry has done a fabulous job transitioning to being the starting quarterback. Noah Coy, Jalen Thomason, Micah Coyle, all have been outstanding. They have not lost in Indiana, Bob, since 2019. Their offense is at 452 yards a game. Franklin Central has played very well. 4 of their losses to come to some teams with a combined record of 23-5. And certainly they're going to be a good team, but, man, make no mistake about it, Center Grove is just loaded. And I also, at this point in time, want to pass my heartfelt thoughts and condolences to Jason West. His brother passed away this past week, so our thoughts first goes out to Coach and his family.
Those sentiments. Well, Paul, that wraps it up. We'll come back after a short break. You're listening to the IHSA Champions Radio Network presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. This is your IHSAA.
You're good at basement basketball.
We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
It's 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon. You have 2 choices. Option 1, take 2 nanoseconds to reach over and put on your seatbelt. Or option 2, decide it's too much work for a Saturday and don't put on your seatbelt. As the seatbelt alarm continues to sing the song of its people, you roll your eyes. You're just going down the block. You'll be fine. You take a turn to the left, and that's when you see it.
Just wear your seatbelt. It's an easy way to save your own life. The Indiana Criminal Justice Institute wants to remind you that choices matter. Click it to live it.
Welcome back to the 2022 IHSAA Football Tournament Pairing Show presented by the Indianapolis Colts on the IHSAA Champions Radio Network. This is your IHSAA. Fantastic job, Paul Condry, as always. We want to thank Tanner Camp from the Regional Radio Sports
Tanner,
Network
great job.
and your wife, Tanya, for the great job they both did. Can't do it without Brad Huber back in the studio, our on-site producer, Cam Blankenship, above and beyond the call of duty tonight, John Griffin, for all his support. I want to thank the IHSAA's Heath Shanahan, Paul Neidig, Robert Falcons, Jason Willey. Can't do something like this without the help of tremendous people. And Paul, it starts on the 21st, and it'll be a lot of fun.
You know, the neat thing about this, Heath has done a spectacular job. The first live broadcast inside the news set here. Done a wonderful job. I'm looking forward to see it when we can, if we flip it around next year and use the bricks, how appropriately that would be for old Paul Condry. But, you know, it's really been neat to see the way this thing has come along way, and his vision in regards to this championship network has been admirable as well as visionary, and I want to give him kudos for what he's been able to do. Bring all the states, all the media outlets together over the course of all the sports throughout the course of the year, and we get a chance to work with Heath and his group, and we're thrilled to be a part of it. I'm thrilled to be able to spend Friday and Saturday nights hanging out talking American tackle football with you. It's a great place to be. I'm looking forward to finish it all off at Lucas Oil Stadium, and of course a special thanks to our friends at the Colts.
Can't do it without him. So again, Paul Condry and I appreciate you joining us today, and we welcome all of the comments and the tweets and everything that you've done. Thank you so much for all of that. We encourage you, as always, get out and support the schools in your community. Support those student athletes. Make sure sportsmanship is your number one goal. Have a great time. It's going to be a tremendous tournament. We're thankful that we get the opportunity to do it. And once again, you're listening to the IHSAA Champions Radio Network presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. This is your IHSAA.